Cool. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for bearing with us while we got everything working, and thanks to all the tech guys for getting things moving. I'm going to take you through a guide to what works on Bandcamp, the kind of principles behind what can make you successful on the platform. So there's quite a lot of stuff to get through. I will be providing at the end, obviously, as mentioned, we can do some questions at the end. So please save them up and feel free to ask at the end. And also I will be providing a link to our artist guide on the Bandcamp website, which covers most of what you will see here as well. So don't worry about trying to write every single bit down, because there is an online resource with most of this information too. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, you can see that. Great. Okay, let's move that out of the way. You can see my screen okay? Great, okay. So a little start just to kind of give you an introduction to where we're at with Bandcamp. So currently fans have paid artists and labels over $619 million using Bandcamp, with over $18 million in the last 30 days. We're selling 41,000 records per day and over 1 million per month, which is very cool. Interesting thing to note, half the sales on Bandcamp are physical sales. So that is mainly vinyl, but also CDs, cassettes, t-shirts, etc., etc. We're signing up, and this is a figure that has been steady for nearly 2 years now, but we've been signing up 100,000 new registered fans to Bandcamp every month. And I'll come on to what that actually means very soon. And the Bandcamp community that we've created accounts for 33% of all sales on the site. So the last year has been quite momentous for us at Bandcamp. Those of you who've been paying attention will know that we've had a lot more people using the site, which is very good for us. We've sold 5 million digital albums, 2 million tracks, 1 million vinyl albums, 600,000 CDs, 300,000 cassettes, and 250,000 t-shirts. And since March, fans have paid artists over $100 million directly to those artists and labels. One of the big sort of drivers of that has been the Bandcamp Fridays, which we've been running since the start of the pandemic in March. So what we've done is on the first Friday of every month, we have waived our fees, which are normally 15% for digital and 10% for physical. We've waived those fees and instead passed the money directly on to the artists and labels. The first one of those in March, we grossed 15 times what we would expect to receive on a regular day. And they've continued to be very popular with both artists and labels and fans. And the cool thing about them is that we've built a community of fans who understand that being an independent artist is difficult. And there are, particularly this year, fewer and fewer ways. Yes, is it not coming up properly? Okay, one second, let me. Okay, I think there's something has gone wrong with my Zoom. So let me try and fix this. You know what, I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just quit the call and come straight back on, and I think it should work. Give me one second. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. Let me try that again and see if I can share the screen. Okay. Okay, so you can now see a thing that says where we are at. Yeah. Great. Okay, sorry about that. So I've gone through some of these stats already. You can see on the screen, that's fine. So let's get on to the next thing. And I went through what we've done in the last year, and I was just talking about the Bandcamp Fridays. Nice quotes from the New Yorker about those. And like I say, the exciting thing about the Bandcamp Fridays is that we've developed a community on Bandcamp, and I'm going to talk to you now about how that community works and how you can make the most out of it. But it's a community of fans that not just like music, but want to pay for music, which is a very distinct subset of the fans that you will see as an artist or label. We have one more Bandcamp Friday scheduled for this year, which is on December the 4th. We will announce our plans for next year in the coming weeks. So keep an eye on our website for updates on what our plans are for 2021. So I'm now going to take you through some of the principles behind what works on Bandcamp. So the first one of these is design. Anyone who's used Bandcamp will know that there are a huge variety of different page styles that you can have. It's a very basic page design, but one that is very, very customizable. So you can see here, and this example, and this one too. These are very, very different looking pages, but they're all Bandcamp pages, and the artist and label has been able to imprint their personality onto the page. So I really encourage you to take the time to create a custom banner, backgrounds, change the colors, etc. One of the things you'll notice on this page is the pricing of this record. So any album or any release on Bandcamp, it's you, the uploader, the artist or label who can decide how much to charge. And you can see here that this album says $6.99 or more. So it is a minimum price, and the fan can pay more if they want to. 40% of the time, fans choose to pay more than they are asked to pay, which is very amazing. We live in an age, as you all know, where we can listen to any music we want for free on other platforms or for a small subscription. Here you've got fans who, even though they could get this music for free, they decide to not only pay for it, but pay you more for it, which is really remarkable and very cool. And I think the reason I mention this now is I think that the personalization of the page, showing the fan that it is your page as an artist and getting your personality there, really helps to reinforce the ethos of Bandcamp, which is trying to break down the barriers between artist and fan. So yeah, get into the design and do what you can with it. Photographs of merch items are also very important. We used to make it that it wasn't compulsory to add images to the page, but we found that those with images sold twice as well as those without. So we made it compulsory. You can have the classic product shots with your nice tape or whatever on a infinite black background or white background if you want, or you can take a photo of a record on a crate. It is totally fine. And again, anything that brings your personality across, I think, is worth doing. We also know that when you put an item on sale, you might not have the finished stock. So we do actually provide Photoshop templates so you can create a mock-up of what your vinyl or your CD or your cassette will look like. So it's really worth doing that. Building a following. So you'll notice on Bandcamp on the right-hand side of every page is a follow button. You'll also see this when you buy something from an artist. You'll be asked if you want to follow them. When you click the follow button, you also get this notification saying you're now following this artist and will receive a notification whenever they release new music. And you can also then opt in to join their email list and provide your email to them. When you do provide the emails, those are emails that the artist keeps, not us as Bandcamp. They're your fans, so you have the contacts for them, and you can use those contacts to, you can download those email addresses whenever you want from your tools menu, and you can communicate with your fans about your music whenever you want. If a fan is following you and you release a new record, this is what happens. They get sent an email saying, here is the new release from this artist that you follow. We have actually now made it possible to edit the message that goes with it as well. So you can add a short personal message or just some information about the release as well. This is a very, very direct form of marketing, and it's very effective in selling music on Bandcamp. Beyond just notifying followers about new releases, we've also created some tools whereby you can communicate with those fans. So we built our artist and label app a few years ago. The app's very cool. You can look at your sales, you can look at merch orders, you can upload photos of your merch directly from your phone. But the coolest bit is the section on the right-hand screen, which is the messaging component. So you can message all of your fans. And as you can see in the grayed out area at the top, you can actually segment those fans by location and the amount of money they have spent. You can add text and photo. And those messages, it's not like a social media like where you have 10,000 fans on Facebook and you post something up and it tells you that 7 people saw it. With this, we will send an email to the fan as well to make sure that they see the message. That's what the emails look like. This is a good example of one that worked very well, actually. I find it's useful to think about who your audience is on Bandcamp. Most of your followers are following you because they like buying music. So any message about new music or new products for them to buy, they are interested in. They're also interested in live shows and other things like that, but I think it's good to think about it slightly differently to another social media network that you might use, for example. I actually run a small label myself, and the most effective message I've ever sent from the label is one where we offered a 40% discount for one day only. So we, 40% off, here's a code, and we only shared this to our Bandcamp followers. We sold £2,000 worth of records in one day, and that was just through communicating to people on Bandcamp. So that's the kind of thing that works quite well, I think. Although, I think if you're an artist and you can really get your personality across, there's much more that you can do with it, and there's more options. We also took that ability to some of the sort of functions from the app and turned that into our artist dashboard and community tab. So this launched last year. You have a dashboard that you see when you log in. It shows you activity on your page. It provides links to see more stats. You can actually click the Get More Followers button, which will allow you to post to social networks about being on Bandcamp. You can also get an embeddable follow button, and it shows you your follow accounts. Now, we don't display the follower numbers publicly. It's only visible to you in the back end, but it gives you an idea of how many people you're communicating with. If you click the Send Followers a Message button, you go to your community tab, which looks like this. Here you can see a message that gets sent out by these artists here. And then the cool thing about the community tab is that fans can then comment below the line. So you can actually do some really interesting things with that. I've seen artists ask their fans for recommendations for other releases on Bandcamp ahead of a Bandcamp Friday, and you can get into some cool discussions about other good music. But it's just another way of building that direct link with your fans. Another thing we've done, I mentioned fan accounts at the top of the presentation. We have done a lot of work with fan collections, which look like this. This is Andrew, who's my boss at Bandcamp, and this is his fan account. And on a fan account, you can see all the music that a fan has bought. They can write reviews, which will then appear on the page of the release too. If you buy something that you're embarrassed about, you can hide it from your public collection. If you have bought a record that maybe you don't want anyone else to know about. Although, of course, all the music on Bandcamp is brilliant, so there's no need for that ever. What happens with fan accounts is that you can then follow other fans and they can follow you. And once a week, you'll get an email rounding up what fans that you follow have been buying. So you get recommendations based on that. And again, what I'd say is the recommendations aren't just, hey, I like this, or check out this new release. It's, I bought this, you should have a look at it too. And then if someone buys something from your recommendation, you'll get an email saying, hey, congratulations, you helped sell this record. This person bought it off your recommendation. So it's a really nice social network, but not just of music fans, but of fans who pay for music, which is really, really valuable. There are also recommendations on every album page. This is a typical album page on Bandcamp. And as you can see right at the bottom of the page, or the second row up, we have some recommended releases. Now, we will automatically fill that with other albums that fans have bought that are in common with this artist. So you can see here, 251 fans who bought this, also bought this. We will put in releases that our editorial team, which I'll come on to later, have chosen that are in a similar genre. But you as an artist can actually recommend 3 records yourself. You can pick out any 3 records on Bandcamp and you can post a link and then your fans will see something that you like too. So this is just a free bit of advertising space, I guess. If you've got friends, other bands that you work with, and you want to swap and say, you recommend my record, I'll recommend yours, it's a nice way of sharing a little bit of what music you're into. In line with what I've been saying about how we have sort of created a kind of social network, we have what we call our music feed. And this is on both desktop and on the app. And it's basically a feed of music that fans you follow have been buying, that artists and labels that you follow have been releasing. And you can just click play at the top of that page, and it will play through all of the music on there. And if you're interested in something, you can then click one button and you can buy that release. So it's just, again, another great way of discovering new music. But all of the discovery and all of the recommendation we have, it's based on what humans have been doing, decisions that humans have made. It's based on things that our editorial team and our writers have picked out as being particularly interesting. It's based on releases that other fans have decided to buy. So there's no kind of AI type algorithmic recommendation. It's as close as we can make it to the experience of going to a real life record store. We also have a lot of newsletters that we send out to fans. We will recommend albums based on what other people have been buying in common with you. And we will also send out ones about our editorial platform, the Bandcamp Daily, which I'm going to talk about a bit more in a second. Picking out key articles in genres that you're interested in, and also our radio shows, again, more of which later. Another way that we've sort of been working on to try and create homes for different genres of music on Bandcamp is our genre hubs. They look like this. You have a key sort of main genre, electronic in this instance. Our writers will then pick out key new and notable releases with a little one-line review, and they'll update on a weekly basis. And we have featured merch and also classics of the genre. So you like electronic music, listen to Aphex Twin or Chords of Canada or whatever it might be. You can actually follow a genre as well, and you'll then get a curated email once a week recommending you key releases from the genre too. We're sort of gradually building these out, so they're sort of slowly appearing in all the different genres, but it's quite a fun way of finding music on Bandcamp. We also have our discovery tools. You can search for music on Bandcamp by genre, subgenre, city, and format, which is a really fun way to just find weird music that you didn't know about beforehand. You can just pick a random set of criteria and find some great music. The reason I mention it is the importance of tagging your music properly. It's worth spending the time to work out where fans are most likely going to find your music and what sort of things people would be searching for in order to find your music and enjoy it and hopefully buy it. I know it's not nice to try and put genres on things, but really look at it as a way of just saying, well, if I was trying to find me, how would I go about doing it? Also, we had a thing a few years ago where we had a lot of metal bands who would classify their music as children's music, which is kind of funny, except no one could find their music. And then people who were actually looking for children's music were very upset that all of the titles had Satan in them. So it was not such a good thing in the end. But yeah, so all of this means that for every 2 sales that you bring in, we will drive a third. And that's on average across the site. And the biggest thing we've done to assist that is the Bandcamp Daily. The Bandcamp Daily is our editorial platform, which was founded in 2016. We have 4 editors based in New York, as well as an art director and a social media manager. And we have around 100 freelance writers all over the world. And their job is to cover the breadth of great music on Bandcamp. So what does that look like? I'm going to take you through a few examples of some articles over the last year or so that have been popular, and you'll get an idea of what we're looking for. So this is a great article. This artist, Gordon Kwang, he releases with a label called Music in Exile. They release music by people who've sought asylum in Australia. It's a really cool story. It's really great music, and it was very well received by our readers. We do lists. Mathcore is very popular on Bandcamp. So we did a list of mathcore records. We actually do monthly columns for a range of different genres, including electronic, metal, punk, jazz, soul, reissues, 12-inch vinyl, and there's a bunch more that are always being added to the site. We also have our Album of the Day franchise, which is a 300-word review of a record that we love that goes up once a day. And we have our new and notable section, which is 4 or 5 short reviews, like one-line reviews of records that we want to cover but don't have space for elsewhere, and we put them up on the front page at bandcamp.com every day. There we go. Another one. This is a really cool piece. So Tracy, the writer here, actually pitched a feature about the artist in the middle here, whose name I've forgotten. And our editor said, well, actually, we've had a few other releases from artists from the same part of the world. Could you make it into a full feature? So she went and interviewed a few more artists. We created some cool artwork, as you can see here. And the piece was really good. It was one of our most successful and well-visited pieces. And that was actually 5 months start to finish, from initial pitch to publish. So it's a long period we work with sometimes, but it produces really high quality journalism. And it has made the Daily the kind of go-to place for inquisitive music fans who want to find something that maybe they haven't seen elsewhere. This is what one of our pages look like for a feature. As you can see, we have embedded players within every article, so you can listen to the music while you read. This is one thing that is to note, is that in order to be eligible for editorial coverage, you need to have at least one track streamable and downloadable, even in your pre-order period. If there's nothing to listen to, your music can't be covered in the editorial. It won't show up in discovery, in fan accounts, etc., because the whole way our recommendation works is, here's something you might like, have a listen. So you need to have at least one track that's streamable and downloadable. As you can see, we have a follow button on the left-hand side for the artist in question, and also some merch on the right-hand side, again, showing you how important good photos of your products are in generating sales. So how do you become as happy as these 4 people and get your music covered in the Bandcamp Daily? There's a few things to note, and again, I'm going to link you to our guide, which goes into this in more detail. We need to be sent things as early as possible, ideally 8 or 9 weeks ahead of your release date. We need to be sent a Bandcamp link. It doesn't need to be publicly visible. We have admin accounts. We can see releases that are private or not yet published. But we don't want to get SoundCloud links. We don't want to get a download of your 50-track beat tape album as WAVs. We don't want to get lots and lots of attachments with press releases. Put all the information about your release on your page. There's an About This Album section in the edit page for every release on Bandcamp. Put your story in there, make your page look good, put all your music in, and send it to us as early as you can. You can either send, the best way to find out who to send things to is if you go to our guide, which is bandcamp.com/guide, GUIDE. In the Promote Your Music section, it has a section about the editorial team, and it gives you the email addresses of all of our editors and tells you who specializes in what type of music. So that's the best way to gauge who to send your music to. Sending it as early as possible is key. The other thing to note is we're interested in music that sounds good, but also is going to be interesting to write about and interesting to read about. So we want stories. And the story isn't, my record got played on Radio 1, we got this review in Pitchfork, this happened to us. We want to know, how was the record made? Who did you collaborate with? Where was it made? What's it about? Stuff that's going to be an interesting story for fans to engage with. That's what really tips the balance for us in terms of what we cover. We get between 1,500 and 2,000 pitches every week, and we are posting about 4 or 5 pieces a day. So as you can imagine, it's very competitive. So the earlier you get stuff to us, the better. We also have 3 radio shows that we put up. We have the Bandcamp Weekly, which goes up every Tuesday, which has been running for years and years now. That covers mainly jazz, soul, hip hop, world music, house, that kind of stuff. We also have 2 new shows we've recently launched, which run on Fridays, alternating every fortnight, one specializing in metal and one specializing in hip hop. So if you're sending in pitches, you can mark them for the attention of those radio hosts. We use social media a lot within our within the editorial team, particularly Instagram. If you have great looking merch and you're selling it on Bandcamp, please tag us in a post. We do repost things if they're particularly beautiful. So bear that in mind and give us a follow. A few more things to run through, some newish features before I finish up and answer some questions if we have time. We launched last year our vinyl service. So this is a system whereby you can create a digital album on Bandcamp, decide what color vinyl you would like to produce, what kind of cards, whether you want it shrink wrapped, whether you want it stickered, etc., etc. Decide how much you want to charge, and it then creates a 30-day campaign, which fans can pledge to. If the campaign is successful, like this one, which was phenomenally successful, we will then manufacture your records for you and ship them out to your fans. This is still in beta at the moment, so it will be available more widely on Bandcamp in 2021. You still do need a good amount of followers to really be sure that it's going to happen, and we don't allow everyone to set up a campaign because you know, sometimes if you have no following on Bandcamp and no following on social media, you're not likely to make it happen. So we do kind of talk you through that, but we have our team of vinyl reps who can help you out with that and give you some ideas about things. They've got between them decades of experience in manufacturing vinyl and can give good advice and help you with your vinyl campaigns. So that's something to look out for next year. That's one of our recent campaigns that was successful from Christian Scott. And then the newest thing that we announced only yesterday is Bandcamp Live. So we announced yesterday our new live streaming platform. It's a ticketed live streaming platform within your Bandcamp page. You will be able to set up a live show. Fans can buy tickets if they've got a registered Bandcamp account. It's one ticket per customer. Not one ticket per customer, because it's within a Bandcamp site and you have to log in to be able to see it. It means that people can't share the stream link with other people, as is often happening with live streams. And the cool thing about it is that you can have a curated merch table underneath the window so people can buy your music whilst they're watching the show, which is very, very cool. So we launched this yesterday. There's an announcement at bandcamp.com on our front page. Through there, there's a link to register your interest if you want to be considered to have your account enabled. Also, until the beginning of April 2021, we are not taking any money from any ticket sales. So all of the ticket sales will go directly to you. So yeah, very, very exciting. And there's if you look on the announcement post on our front page, there is a list of shows coming up. So I'd really recommend you check out a show and see what it looks like, because it's very, very cool.
That's so great. Yeah,
this is a screenshot from one of the test shows that we did recently, which went really well. It was very cool. And the last thing to mention is the Bandcamp store in Oakland, California, which we opened last year. We have a record store where you can buy great music that's on Bandcamp. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we also have a live space where we do shows. And we will be launching a live from Bandcamp sort of video series at some point. Obviously, everything is closed at the moment, but when things open, if you're in the Bay Area, please stop by and say hello. So yeah, so that's about it. I realize that's a lot of information in a short space of time. So I would just say again, please go to our artist guide, bandcamp.com/guide, GUIDE. That has most of this information, but in a more referenceable format, so you can go back and look at things while you're working on your page.
But it actually was, as you said, before just telling everyone, maybe I'll interrupt and ask questions. And he said that probably I will answer those questions throughout the presentation. And yeah, it's a perfect introduction to the platform. And yeah, I think the what I kept from it was the ethos of Bandcamp. That's not usual when you speak to big corporations or platforms. So the feeling that there's a human behind it and not an algorithm. And the way, as you said, the comparison with a record store, instead of just a platform showing stuff, it's more like a relationship with the record store owner or clerk, and the way people in the record store can talk to each other as well and exchange information. So I think it's a very good metaphor for it.
Yeah, no, that's been the aim from day one. And I think one thing I think I didn't mention it actually, just in the changing things over when you couldn't see my screen, but you know, we also do, we've done a series of fundraisers for progressive causes that are important to us. You know, we did a fundraiser for on Juneteenth this year for charities that support racial justice. We've done fundraisers for the ACLU and the Transgender Law Centre. So, you know, we do feel we are part of a community that has values as well. And it's important for us to stand up for things we believe in too. So, you know, there is, the ethos extends into that as well, I think.
In that sense, I also, you said you're going to say something in the next few weeks, but I was wondering how long are Bandcamp Fridays going to last, because they are being really helpful for a lot of people, I think, these days.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know at the moment. I mean, I think, you know, they are very popular. I think we're just trying to, you know, gauge from the community, how, are they still useful? You know, you don't want to kind of things to outstay their welcome and become, you know, I mean, there's nothing to suggest that's the case. So, yeah, all I'll say is just watch this space. I would imagine, you know, around the next one on December the 4th, there'll be some kind of announcement as to what we're doing or how it's going to work.
Okay. And then just to wrap things up, I want to say that as I was watching the presentation, when you were showing examples, it showed the, when you talked about genres, for example, array of different genres that you show, and also on Bandcamp Weekly and all the editorial side, that you try to find music from other territories than the UK and America and the usual. And yesterday we had an interview with Booker of the Guess Who, the festival in Holland, which I was thinking actually Bandcamp and the Guess Who have a very similar approach, but then you said and we are actually into at this same time. I think it was the perfect wrapping up for the whole thing. I think Monkey Week and Bandcamp are very in-line.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Thank you very much. Sorry because we were a bit late, so we can't stay any longer because we have another conference in 10 minutes. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, and yeah, and we'll probably know more about you, and you will know more about us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you very much, and yeah, hopefully see you in person next year, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you. And goodbye.
Week, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.